Okay, so now we're going to do the, what did I call it? Ask anything, anything goes Q&A. And I got a couple questions. Okay, the first one is, somebody says, "Dear Denise," they didn't really say that, but I'm gonna pretend like that. Remember those, like, when they used to write into newspapers? "Dear Denise, lately I've been confused about all the health information out there in the world. Do cardio or do weights? Eat more calories for working out or eat only when hungry? Eat carbs, don't. Fast or don't. So much information out there. Also, where's a good place to start during this Renew program to complement the Ask God and Meal Plan for Renew?" Okay, great question. First, let's start with, do cardio or do weights? Okay. I'm going to give you, this is, so first of all, you guys know any exercise is better than no exercise. You also know that the best exercise is the one that you will do. But if you are looking for the most effective exercise, especially for women over 40, it needs to be a combination of 50% cardio, 50% weights. And that can be 20 minutes and 20 minutes. But exercise is not a weight loss tool. Exercise really is to keep a very strong body, to keep commitments to yourself, and because there's so many other health benefits, mentally and physically and emotionally. So you guys do need to exercise and move your body for a large amount of reasons. But so if I were setting up a plan for somebody to start, I would say you should start like 2 days a week, and then absolutely get into strength training. Now, here's the thing, ladies, is that if you do, okay, I would say 30 minutes of cardio, like 5 days a week, and 30 minutes of weights 3 times a week. The thing is that everybody's on this call can do way more than 3 or 5 pound weights. And when I find a lot of my personal training clients, they've got 3 or 5 pound weights at home. And I'm like, hey, a gallon of milk is 8 pounds. You guys are way stronger than that, way stronger. So when you're first starting strength training, you want to use a weight that you can lift 15 to 20 times. That's called repetitions. So you'll do an exercise 15 to 20 times. If you can do more than 20 times, that's your indication that you're strong enough to increase the weight. Okay. So I guess the short answer, so 15 to 20 times. Right. So when we do like leg lifts, like for 30 minutes, it's like, are there specific exercise questions right now? You need a combination of both. At least 3 days a week of strength training, at least 4 to 5 days a week of cardio, at least 30 minutes there. Okay, raise your hand or put it in the chat if you have any questions about exercise. All right, so the next question is, should I eat more calories for working out? No. No. This post-exercise workout drink, all that stuff, the average person who exercises at my level, at your level, we don't need extra calories for exercising. We don't. If you, okay. I see your question, Denise, just a second. If you, no, if you're doing like advanced strength training or doing over 60 minutes of cardio several times a week, we can talk about that. If you're doing over hour-long workouts more than twice a week, we can talk about extra calories, but no, you don't need that. And the whole like drink a protein drink after your workout. Okay, yes, in the lab, when they do that research and they're like, oh, you've got an hour window to repair, to replace the glycogen or put in protein so that your muscles can recover. I don't know anybody who's working so hard that their body can't normally recover. which is normal nutrition. Good. You guys know what good, healthy nutrition is. Okay. The other question is fast or don't fast. Okay. If fasting is comfortable for you and you love your eating plan already and it works for you, if fasting doesn't trigger you to overeat later. So sometimes people fast, and when they're emotional eaters, they will say, oh, I didn't eat breakfast. That means that there's extra calories that I can have somewhere else. So if fasting keeps extra calories, like there's a little bank somewhere in the back of your head and you get to spend it. So if you have that philosophy and it's doing a mind game for you, don't fast. And when I first started overcoming emotional eating, I had to have standard meals. I ate by the clock. And the reason I did that was if I was hungry in between those times, I wouldn't eat, but it was my opportunity to know that, hey, something's up. Okay, it's time to look at that. And the other reason why I was eating by the clock is it created space and boundaries where I like knew I had to just endure the feelings. I was also committed to my food plan. I was committing to a person. I recommend that you guys do that if that's helpful to you. You know, submit your food plan to me. Happy to keep it. And then at the end of the day, you can be like, oh yeah, I did it. I don't care what you put on your food plan. I'm not the food police. Okay, but if fasting is, if however, fasting does not play a mental shenanigans on you, it's amazeballs. It's like amazing. So if you want to start fasting, it's amazing for your blood sugar. It's amazing for insulin sensitivity. Kim had mentioned that she finds she's more sluggish when she eats. The more she eats, it's very true. Every time you eat, inflammation increases and insulin increases. So I too find that the fewer meals I eat, the more energy I have, because I do have slumps after I eat. So fasting, if you want to get into fasting, whatever your normal, like when you stop eating, let's say you stop eating at 8 p.m. and you have breakfast at like 8 a.m. Whatever your normal window is, just start pushing breakfast back 30 minutes for a few days. And then again, another 30 minutes for a few days, another 30 minutes for a few days, and another 30 minutes for a few days. I love fasting. I think it's amazing. It's really helped me in a million ways. But I also changed my diet significantly to be able to support that, because I eat a higher fat diet than, if you have a very carb rich diet, it might be really hard to fast because your blood sugar will just keep like up and down and up and down. So I'm happy to, does anybody have a question about fasting? And I'm talking about like a 16-8. And what that means is that you fast. Some people do fast 12 hours, eat 12 hours, have, not eat for 12 hours straight, but eat their meals within that 12-hour window. Some people do 14-10, 16-8. I've never done anything like 20 hours fasting and then 4 hours eating. Some people do that. Okay, any fasting questions, put in the chat. All right, Denise asked, what about yoga? Okay, so what about yoga? Okay, so if we're talking about the emotional, like it's just like relaxing, and I absolutely love balls it, and it is the best thing ever, and I love doing it, and it's so fantastic. However, I would say that it's also important to strengthen the heart to where you have some exercise where you're breathing hard for like a good 20 to 30 minutes at one time, because that conditions the heart and lungs. Very important, very important. And then also some strength training. So I know like yoga, you will do exercises in their held positions. But for a muscle to gain strength, it needs to fatigue in 90 seconds. So if I'm able to hold a position for longer than 90 seconds, I'm not really I'm creating what's called muscular endurance and not muscular strength, although muscular endurance isn't bad. But the point is that you have 5 components of fitness. You have cardio, you have muscular endurance, you have muscular strength. Okay, what's muscular endurance? Muscular endurance is something like this: the ability to like walk all day at Disney World, or to like walk all day in the grocery store. Your muscles are moving over and 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 over. You're not out of breath, so it's not cardio, but your muscles know how to work over and over. And we've all seen that person who just can't do that, right? We've seen the carts in Walmart. Some people just don't have that muscular endurance. What's muscular strength? Muscular strength is like the ability to lift something heavy, to carry in your heavy groceries. You carry them in, you set them down. You're not carrying them for 50 yards. You're just like, you can do heavy stuff. Muscular endurance you can develop in yoga. Muscular strength you can develop, you know, on some level, because I know you're doing like some push-ups and some other movements. And the other one is flexibility, which is stretching, which yoga totally addresses. And finally, body composition. So you guys, having too much fat on your body definitely decreases your fitness. Okay, I hope that answered your question about yoga. All right, somebody said, I'm toying with the idea of fasting, but not sure I can get over the mental shenanigans, as you mentioned. Don't do it. It's not worth it. Not right now. You're in this work, and this work is more important. I went through 8 years of recovery before I was able to fast without mental shenanigans. Okay, don't mix the two. Don't complicate life. Okay. Any other questions about fasting or exercise? Put them in the chat. All right, somebody says, I have an afternoon slump. What do I do in the afternoon? I have a slump. What should I turn to? Okay, so one of you guys, and I wonder if she is still on, has been asking me to evaluate different products, and I'm happy to do that. All right, so a couple things when you're evaluating a product, especially when they have claims. The first one is to get their clinical research. And then the second one is to look at the label. And what you're looking for in the label is, okay, so clinical research, you should be able to go on anybody's website that says, hey, you can lose weight. Hey, we help your cardiovascular wellness. Hey, we'll do whatever their claim is. You should be able to go to their website and see the clinical research. It should be there. What does clinical mean? It means it's been done on human beings, not rats. And you should also see that they do the product. Okay, so just disclaimer right now, I do work with a company, and I'm going to be mentioning their name because it's just simple like that. So I work with a company, and I've partnered with them for 15 years. Their name is Juice Plus. It's fruits and vegetables in a capsule. Okay, and then they also have a plant-based shake smoothie that you will all be getting a little sample of in the next coming weeks. But the point is that at any time I can tell somebody to go, hey, just go to the Juice Plus website and you'll be able to see the research that's been done, and it will tell you what happens when you ingest Juice Plus. So you need to be able to see the clinical research that is done on that product. Okay? So Juice Plus has 30 fruits and vegetables in it. So it's not going to be the clinical research on blueberries and raspberries and bilberries and artichoke. I don't want the clinical research on that. You don't want clinical research on the ingredients. You want the clinical research on the product that you will be ingesting. Because you could go to the store and get some artichokes and blueberries. No, that's not what you want to do. You want to say, when I take this, what happens inside my body? Cool. So you need to go with the clinical research. The second thing is that you want to look at the label. There's 2 different labels that you'll see. One says supplement facts, and then one says nutrition facts. Okay, nutrition facts is what's on what? Oh, hey, Laura. Nutrition facts are only allowed to be put on food. You can only put nutrition label or nutrition facts on food. So if you look at a product that's something that you ingest and it doesn't say nutrition facts, you've got to be a little like, well, what the heck is it? Now, a supplement facts is typically what you will see. And what you should know is that nutrition facts are regulated, right, by the Food and Drug Administration, right? Supplement facts are regulated by how many people? What organization? No one. No one, no third party, nobody regulates supplements. Nobody. You could put your spaghetti sauce or your special whatever you want in a jar and put supplement facts on it and say whatever you want is in there is in there. Okay, spaghetti was a stupid example. But I mean, I'm just saying you could make any concoction you wanted, put supplement facts on, put whatever you want on the label, and nobody's checking that what you say is in the label is actually in your container. So I'm a huge proponent that the easiest way to make sure that you have a solid product is that it says these two things, okay? So this is how you would evaluate a product. They would have these two things, clinical research and nutrition facts. Okay, now one of the reasons that somebody was asking me about a product is because, oh, here's what's really interesting. They were asking me about this, something that's like lose 8 pounds in 15 days or something like that. So I went to that company's website and I was like, huh. So if you read them, it's all like, well, you can lose 8 pounds or 15 pounds in 8 days. That's what it was. 15 pounds in 8 days because we support some of the weight loss issues or issues that occur with weight loss. So they've got like something that you take for appetite suppressant, something you take for energy. There was like 5 different products that you're supposed to take. But there's no research that these 5 products taken together create any sort of weight loss. Nor is there any research that say that this product will suppress my appetite. So it was just kind of like, hey, let's just use some common sense here. Go by clinical research and nutrition facts. Okay, now one of the reasons that somebody was looking at this, because they're having what's called, you guys may have this, an afternoon slump. So if you have, here, let's do it like this. Dear Denise, I'm tired in the afternoon. What can I take or do? She has this afternoon slump. So here's what I'd recommend. The first thing that I'd recommend is to say, hey, what's going on at night? Are you getting the sleep that you really need? How's your sleep hygiene? Can you try to get a week under your belt of like some really good sleep? What's going on? Can you go to bed 15 minutes earlier? Stay in bed 15 minutes later, get another half hour? Is there something that we need to really look at to either lengthen your sleep, the quantity or the quality? Okay, so look at that. What about during the day in terms of like the intensity during your day? Sometimes we become so exhausted because we're running at like 240, like all day. And then like after lunch, and you have the insulin go down, you're like, oh, I'm so exhausted. Is there a way that you can create a better pace? I guess the word isn't pace, but like a more stable pace throughout your day. For example, like you can look at where can I use my best energy? So if the afternoon is that time when you're like, oh, I'm just like slumpy dumpy, is there something that you can do that creates less or requires less energy? Okay, for example, me. My brain is like working in the morning, and then I like to save my housework because I work from home. I like to save my housework to the afternoon. Put in a podcast, work, don't have to think. It like re-energizes me to get a podcast in. And then, but if I take that morning time and really capitalize that and do my most challenging brain work, I can get stuff done so much quicker. So I'd encourage you to like look at your day and see, hey, where can I reposition some tasks so that even though my energy is lower at that time, I'm not expecting more than what I'm capable of doing. The other thing is, what are we telling ourselves? Like, I like to be like, this is my high energy time. Okay, this is my, I don't want to say like low energy time, but just trying to really match the tasks that you're expecting yourself to do with your natural energy that you normally have. Okay, the other thing that I would say is, let's look at your actual nutrition. Okay, the actual nutrition, like, are you really getting a breadth of nutrients in your body? Do you find that you eat the same things over and over and over, like I do? So if you're not getting the nutrition, which who in the world could, it would be nearly impossible. You might consider supplementation with some nutritional products that have nutrition labels that are clinically researched, okay? Not just some shenanigans, but something real. Like I said before, I work with a company, I partnered with them for 15 years called Juice Plus. It's just fruits and vegetables in a capsule. I mean, I eat like the same vegetables every day, the same like 4 or 5 vegetables. So I know there's no way I could get the nutrients that my body needs just by my food. So not that you couldn't still try to change that, but let's look at your actual nutrition. All right, we're going to keep going on. Does anybody have any questions about nutrition, supplements, things you've seen, any products? Just put it in the chat. Here. And then finally, somebody asks, so anyway, I guess I kind of just go back to the afternoon slump. Like, let's take a look at those things first. Oh, and then one other thing about the afternoon slump. So Lori had asked me to look at this one product, and it had, I'm not going to mention the product. So if you guys are curious what it is, you can ask me later. But it's this product that somebody recommended to her and said, oh, I love it. I don't have it. It's an afternoon, like, little jolt of something. It's something that you mix with water. And the person who was telling her about it was like, oh, it's great because I have this spark of energy, but I don't have a crash. So I looked, so you'll want to look at, like, what are the ingredients on that? Like, what's giving you the natural energy? And natural is like, I mean, natural is so subjective. It's kind of an opinion. But there is, you guys know, you've heard of the most used drug in the world, and it's probably spelled wrong. You guys know what caffeine is. The average cup of coffee has 60 to 100 grams. The product that you were told about, Lori, has 120 milligrams. Your cup of tea has about 60. That would be twice your cup of tea. But when you mix, what are those called? Stimulants. Caffeine is a stimulant. Taurine is a stimulant. So that product has both of those together. When you mix those together, there's a synergistic effect. So for example, if I had the caffeine by itself, I would get an effect. If I had the taurine by itself, I would get an effect. But when you mix them together, you have a greater effect. It's kind of like what the Monster drinks run on. I'm not saying this is like a Monster drink. I'm just saying that they layer multiple stimulants. They have the caffeine, the taurine, and there's one with a G as well. Can you briefly share your little treat you mentioned with me? Oh yeah. Okay, that's great. I will. Yeah. Okay, so just know, you want to see, like, what, if it says natural, like, what is natural? And is it like multiple stimulants? Can my body handle this? I mean, everybody's kind of more sensitive or less sensitive to caffeine. Okay. So yes, I will get to yes, that's it. Guarana. Thank you. Corinne just put it in here. It's this. That's another stimulant they can add on. Okay, so Gail asked will you share your little treat with us? You briefly mentioned with me once. It's coconut something. Okay, so I make, and I'll post this. Post my, okay. All right, so I make it's a chocolate like coconut milk, like pudding thing. You know what, I'll just put it on Mighty Networks. I mean, I'll tell you what it is, but then I'll also put it on Mighty Networks. So what it is I make like this pudding that's like a tablespoon of flaxseed, almond meal. I actually just changed this because this was a little too much for me. In fact, I had to change this. That's what I made that video on, where I was like, this isn't working for me anymore, but this is the one that I was telling you about. It's 1 tablespoon of each one of these, flaxseed, almond meal, and then a 1/3 cup of coconut milk, full fat coconut milk from the can. Like I told you, I have a pretty high fat diet, very low carbohydrates, high fat. And then, so that, oh, and then I put a tablespoon of cocoa and stevia. And then on top of that, I mix a tablespoon of coconut oil with another tablespoon of cocoa and another tablespoon of monk fruit. Monk fruit is a sugar substitute that doesn't spike your insulin, but you guys would know, like a tablespoon of that, if you know anything about monk fruit, it's very sweet. So this is very sweet. So this, I make this separate, this bottom, and then I put it on the top. It's kind of like a magic shell, put it in the fridge, and then it's like hard on the top. And then I put some peanuts on the top of that. So I recently changed this to not this, and just do cocoa and stevia with some almond milk, like an unsweetened almond milk. And I still do this. You guys are like we care. And then I add a tablespoon of tahini on top. I guess I just feel like I want to be like fully transparent on that. This was becoming like, it was too much. I wasn't feeling good about it. And that's what's so cool. It's like you can change at any time. When it stops like making you feel good, you just change. Kim said ginseng works really well for me. Oh, for energy? Okay. The next question comes from Denise. How much water should I drink? What are some strategies for drinking more? And what happens if you don't drink enough? All right, I have blue. Water. All right, so you take your body weight in pounds, divide it by 2. So if I am 150 pounds, divide by 2, that means I should be drinking 75 ounces a day. Okay, so I've got a lot of wonderful tips for drinking water. My first one is have a water bottle that you love to drink out of. Have a water bottle that you love to drink out of. For example, I cannot have a water bottle that screws off. That just takes too much work. I need to have a water bottle that flips open. I don't like straws. Some people like straws. I like to have an opening that I can put my entire mouth around. Have you guys ever seen those Nalgene bottles where you unscrew and then you drink like this? I spill it all over myself. So invest in a water bottle that you love. This is Tupperware. I'm not a Tupperware person, but I have like 3 of these. I love Tupperware. It's the only thing I use from Tupperware. Anyway, so I use this water bottle. I love it. It feels great in my hands, fits in my car. Find a water bottle that you like, number one. And it's yours and you love it. Okay, number one, find a water bottle that you like. Invest in a water bottle. Let's show yourself some love. Number two, before you go to bed, fill up your water bottle. Take it to bed so that you can drink it not only overnight. Take some sips if you want. You don't have to. I don't really care. But the reason why I do take it to bed with me at night is first thing in the morning, chug it. Chug that entire water bottle. And what I tell myself is, Denise, you used to chug beer. You can chug some water. I say that every morning. When I really want to go get a cup of coffee, I'm like, nope, just do this. And I always say, this is what you do for yourself to super hydrate. I call it super hydrating my body. Super hydrate first thing in the morning. Okay, after that, so this thing is 34 ounces. It's 34 ounces. So let's pretend like I weigh 150 pounds. It's 34 ounces. So how many would I need in these in a day? I'd only need like 2.5. So just come up with whatever your plan is. So that's the last strategy I would say. It's kind of simple. If I have one before, before anything else, so I'll just say, but one before breakfast. Number one would be before breakfast. And then I would say to myself, you know what? I'm going to finish one more bottle before 1 o'clock. And then my other bottle, I'm going to finish before 6 p.m. Just make some benchmarks in your day. Some ideas is you can set timers, but just have that plan and then set some timers. Denise, I hate drinking water. No problem. There's some things that you can do to make water even better. You can, okay, so to add flavor, you can add fruit. They also have those like flavor enhancers, like those drops, like those Mio drops, or I think there's like so many products now. Just add some flavor with like those drops, or you could add flavor with just like top it off with a little bit of like orange juice, cranberry juice, whatever, just a little bit in there. Juice. I mean, really, like there's just so much on the market now to make your water good. And sometimes people are like, yeah, but doesn't that have artificial sweeteners or in it or whatever? Well, I mean, yeah, but there's a lot of natural stuff out there. And if your focus is on getting better hydration, then a little artificial sweetener probably won't hurt you as much. It's totally up to you. Oh, there's one other thing I wanted to say about flavor. I have an electrolyte thing that I put in because I do have a really hard time drinking water in the winter because I'm so cold. So you can drink hot tea. There's a whole bunch of herbal teas, or I'll even order hot water and then put lemons in it at restaurants because I'm so cold and I don't want to drink coffee. So hot lemon water, that's another thing. I also have like I said, I have an electrolyte drink mix, and I hate to spend the money on it on one hand, but the other, I'm like, you know what, and I only use it for one of my bottles. I'm like, it makes it so good. And I just feel like I'm really hydrating myself. But you don't need to like add anything to your water to like make it more hydrating. Okay, friends. Any other questions about hydration? About exercise, fasting? Any other questions?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Is alkaline water better for you?
That's such a good question. Okay, so I was just reading something about that, like alkaline diet, and you know how they say like, hey, so the whole concept, you guys, of alkaline and acidity is that They say that, if you eat more acidic foods, your body becomes more acidic and it's like an environment more for cancer. And then there's the more alkaline foods. Well, Kim, here's the thing. I don't know about the water, but I was just watching this podcast and learning about an alkaline diet. And there were people that were like, once it gets to your stomach acid, whatever the food is can be whatever the food is. But once it hits your stomach acid, everything becomes the same acidity. So I don't know. Does somebody else have any experience with that? I'd probably look it up on YouTube if I were you.
I just wanted your opinion.
Yeah,
Okay.
because I've been
I
having
watched
some
a
like,
re-
yeah, go ahead.
sorry. I watched a really interesting video. It's on Netflix. It's called Down to Earth, and it's really funny because it's like Zac Efron or something, but he goes around the world and like discovers all these different things. And one of his topics was water. It's so cool to just like see a different perspective on water and like how hydration happens. And it was very insightful.
Cool. Down to earth.
Yeah, Down to Earth. It's on Netflix. It was very good.
Yeah. Yeah, Elizabeth said she saw that too.
And they talk about Lourdes in it, which is really cool.
Oh, nice. That is cool. What else, friends? Okay. Well, I am going to wrap up, you awesome women. So just as a reminder, your homework, at least 3 times between now and the next time, do some mind dumps and some really feeling your feelings.
Okay. Thank
Okay.
you.
Bye, guys. Have a great night.
Thank you, Denise.
Bye.